यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय हो गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरि जय हो प्रभुपाद जय हो प्रभुपाद जय हो गुरुदेव जय हो गुरुदेव। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, जय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि। Hare Krishna to all of you. Screen is visible. So how many of you are coming on regular basis? I can recognize Prabhuji and Prabhuji. You all three are coming regularly. Prabhuji, you are also coming. Hare Krishna. So, before we proceed, let's have a short summary of whatever we have discussed, whatever wherever we are going to discuss today. 3.20, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, shloka number 20. So, before we proceed with that, let us discuss some summary about what has happened in chapter 1 and 2, what was all about. So in chapter 1, so Arjuna gave 4 arguments for not to fight, and at the end of chapter 1, Arjuna has put aside his bow and arrow, that I am not going to fight. These are my different 4 reasons he has given. So what was those 4 reasons? First was compassion, yeah. Second, sorry, sin will come, yeah. So second was loss of enjoyment. So if I'll fight, yeah, but that is true, and the fear of sinful reactions. And fourth was destruction of the dynasty, and fifth was indecision. So he has given 5 reasons not to fight, and then Lord, in chapter 2, it instructs us in self-realization by an analytical study of the material body and spirit soul. So in chapter 2 it was discussed, and while describing the chapter 2, Lord refuted the first 3 reasons given by Arjuna not to fight. So he refuted one by one, and so while refuting Arjuna's arguments, like Lord reveals little bit of jnana and karma, so karma kand and jnana kand and buddhi yoga. So he touched little bit of in different shlokas, like because chapter 2 is about all matter and spirit. So the comparative study of matter and spirit, how we are not the matter and what are the different features of matter and spirit. So that by that Lord want to tell him actually it's everything is temporary. You are just thinking about that you are a body. So that way he tried to refute the different reasons, like compassion and then loss of enjoyment and fear for sinful reactions. So all were countered by Lord. And the fourth, destruction of dynasty, the all my dynasty will destroy. That is going to be now. That will come and in 3.24. So that will be refuted in chapter 3, shloka number 24. So just for because we are discussing, that's the reason I thought I should give a little bit of summary. And then Arjuna further doubts and surrender to Lord. And then Arjuna expresses one more reason, the 5th argument, that is that I am totally bewildered. Now I am not able to make any decision. So, and then Lord starts countering Arjuna's arguments one by one from 2.11 onwards, and first 3 arguments countered till 2.53. So while refuting the 3rd argument of sinful reactions, Lord tells Arjuna about Nishkam Karma, which is mentioned in 2.49. So while discussing 2.49 and towards the end of chapter 2 as well, Krishna discussed about, he mentioned about peace. So Arjuna picked these words, and later on we'll see how he got more confused. So because Lord mentioned in 2.71 and 72 that peace is a way of the spiritual and godly life. So you should try to get peace. And then Lord stopped. Lord in 2.71 and 72, chapter 2 ends, and then Lord paused, and then Arjuna got more confused by this, because we are actually standing in battlefield, and Lord is talking about peace. So Arjuna got more confused and asked Krishna that why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work, because earlier Lord spoke about buddhi yoga as well, and karma yoga and jnana yoga as well, little bit in chapter 2. So then he got confused, and that's the reason he asked in first shloka of chapter 3, he asked this question, that why do you want me to engage in this ghastly warfare. If you think that intelligence is better than the fruitive work, so tell me only the one which is more beneficial to me. So that's what communication happened in 3.1 and 3.2, and then from 3.3 onwards, Lord started speaking about. So Krishna explains that from 3.3 onwards till 3.9, that working for the Lord or working for Vishnu without desiring for results is better for you. Because Arjuna asked that you tell me just one point, what is better for me? So because he was getting more confused, so Lord started explaining that working for the Vishnu without desire for results is better for you. But if you are not free from the desire for the results, then also you should keep performing your actions rather than giving up your actions completely. As inaction is unnatural. That means in this world nobody can remain without doing anything. In this material world, we have to keep doing some work. We cannot remain without doing anything. Even we breathe, that is also an action, right? So that is what Lord, just I want to summarize from 3.3 till 3.9. Lord actually explains him that you cannot remain unaffected, you cannot remain just without work. So if you want to work, then do not get attached with that. And if you really desire for result, then also you should work. Rather, leaving work or leaving action is not going to help you. So working for the Krishna without desire for results is better for you. But if you are not free from the desire for the results, then also you should keep performing your actions rather than giving up your actions completely. So this is like you just see on the screen also, it is visible. So what is the definition? Like working for the Lord without desire for results. That is what Nishkam Karma Yoga. And that is what Lord is telling, that Nishkam Karma Yoga is better for you. If you still have any desire for the result, because Nishkam Karma Yoga is, that means there is no desire, there is no kamna. So when there is no kamna, there is no desire, that is best. But even if you have any desire for the results, then also you should perform your duty. Then also you should perform the work, perform the action. So that is what is karma kanda. And rather than giving up your actions completely, which is what? Karma sannyas. So because Arjuna was bewildered that Lord is telling about peace. So because Lord is saying you will get peace, he was thinking peace in a different way. He was thinking that I will leave the battlefield, I'll go to some jungle and I'll do some penance there, and that I'll get peace. So he wants to leave this battlefield, right? He said that I'll not fight. He put in the end of chapter 1 itself, he kept his bow and arrow, that I'm not going to fight. I'm in confused state. So next, in 3.10 to 3.16, Krishna explains how a person can progress gradually from karma kanda to karma yoga. So we'll further discuss about the details of this. What is karma kanda, what is karma yoga, what is nishkam karma yoga. And then Krishna elaborately explains about the nishkam karma yoga by giving example of a self-realized person, that how a self-realized person acts without being attached to the fruitive activities. So that's what Lord has explained in 3.17 to 3.19, that how a unattached person should act, how he acts, the person who is actually acting in Nishkam Karma Yoga. Self-realized person who knows that. What is the meaning of self-realized? Any? Yeah.
The person is bound by the principles of soul as per given Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, correct. Sorry. Yeah, correct. So one who know his real position, that who am I? That is what is self-realized person, and just do not know but act accordingly. So we can say that, I am also aware that I am not the body, I am soul. You can also say that you are not body, you are soul. But how we act, that is what is important. So self-realized person is a person who know and act accordingly. Practically also. So now we'll proceed for today's shloka. So before we proceed, like there were few important shlokas as we discussed in from 3.10 to 3.16. So Lord explains about how a person can progress from karma kand to karma yoga. So karma kand is when Lord tells about in 3.14 that annad bhavanti bhutani, parajanyad anna sambhava, yagyad bhavati parajanyo yagya karma samudbhava. So that means whatever anna, the annat bhavanti bhutani. That means we living entities actually are living only because of anna. And from where anna, the crops, where it comes from? It comes from rain. Parajanyadana sambhava. So then from where comes the rain? By performing the yajna. And how the yajna comes, कैसे, how it become possible, how yajna will be established once we do the prescribed duties. So yajna karma samudbhava, when somebody is doing actions, proper actions as mentioned in the scriptures. So according to scriptures, if we are performing our duties, performing our karma, so that is actually yajna. Yajna karma samudbhava. And then in 3.17 and 18, as we say, Krishna elaborately explains about Nishkam Karma Yoga. So by giving example of a self-realized person who acts without being attached to the fruitive activities, because he says in 3.17-18 that words used like Atmarathi, Atmatraptaha, Atmasantushtaha. So that means who is self-realized. So what are the different features given of self-realized person? He is Atmaratihi. Atmaratihi means he's having the bliss within, because he know that Paramatma is sitting inside the heart, and the same Paramatma is sitting in everybody's heart. So he's Atmarati. He do not find anything outside. He do not find any happiness, or he don't want to find this outside, because himself is having that kind of bliss within. And then Atmatriptaha. Atmatriptaha means he's satisfied. And Atmasantushtaha, that is also satisfied. Then in 3.19, Lord says, Tasmad asakta satatam karya karma samachara asakto hyachar karma parmapnoti purushaha. So Lord speaks about acharan here in 3.19. Tasmad asakta satatam karya karma samachara asakto hya acharan karma parmapnoti purushaha. That means Lord is telling about that such a person who is self-realized person, he is not attached to any activity, and for such a person there is no need to take any action as well. When somebody is self-realized, he not need to do any kind of prescribed duties, he not need to perform any kind of prescribed duties. So we'll discuss it. So in just for reference, Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, this was shloka number 1, where Arjun was confused, and he asked about Arjuna Vacha Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tatkim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyo Jayasi Keshava. Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshav, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So the root of this question lies in chapter 2, and which we discussed, shloka number 2.49 and 2.71 and 72, where Lord, tells that you will get peace, you will get, the intelligent person should get peace by absorbing into the jnana. So now we'll be moving to 3.20, and before that 3.19 tasmad asakta satatam karya karma samachara asakto hya acharan karma param apnoti purusha. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment one attains the supreme. So that is what is 3.19. Lord is telling that you should perform all your activities without being attached, and one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment one attains the supreme. So we'll understand how somebody can attain the supreme without getting attached, just by acting without attachment to the fruitive results. How can somebody attains the supreme? So this is Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, shloka number 20. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। So we'll recite this shloka. कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन्त कर्तुमर्हसि। कर्मणैव संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि समपश्यं कर्तुमर्हसि। कर्मणैव संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन्त कर्तुमर्हसि। Someone from कर्मणैव संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि। Someone else? कर्मणैव संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि। Synonyms: karmana, by work; iva, even; he, certainly; sansiddhim, in perfection; asthitah, situated; janakadayah, Janaka and other kings; lokasangrahanam, the people in general; iva api, also; sampashyan, considering; kartum, to act; arhasi, you deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Can somebody repeat the translation, please? Translation and purport. Kings like Janaka were all self-realized souls. Consequently, they had no obligation to perform the prescribed duties in the Vedas. So now you can relate it with the previous two shlokas which I just gave a little bit of summary, 3.17 to 19, where Lord says that what are the features of a person who is a self-realized person. So a self-realized person, how he acts. So Lord now is giving an example here that kings like Janaka, Prabhupada is explaining it like kings like Janaka were all self-realized souls. So consequently, they had no obligation to perform the prescribed duties in the Vedas. Nonetheless, they performed all prescribed activities just to set examples for the people in general. Janaka was the father of Sita and father-in-law of Lord Sri Rama. Being a great devotee of the Lord, he was transcendently situated. But because he was the king of Mithila, a subdivision of Bihar province in India, he had to teach his subjects how to perform prescribed duties. Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal friend, had no need to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but they fought to teach people in general that violence is also necessary in a situation where good arguments fail. Before the battle of Kurukshetra, every effort was made to avoid the war, even by Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the other party was determined to fight. So, for such a right cause, there is a necessity to fight. Although one who is situated in Krishna consciousness may not have any interest in the world, he still works to teach the public how to live and how to act. Experienced persons in Krishna consciousness can act in such a way that others will follow. And this is explained in the following verse. So we are discussing this sloka number 20. The following verse is 21. So we will not discuss that one, but I'll give a little bit of hint about that. So there is in this particular purport and shloka, Lord is giving example. Whatever he explained in 3.17, 18 and 19, that what are the features of a self-realized person, and even though he seems to be looked like he's acting materially, he's acting in the material world like a material person or a non-devotee. But that self-realized person is actually seems to be like that. He's working like a non-realized person. The person is not self-realized, but he do it to set examples. He not need to do it. Actually, once the person is self-realized, he not need to do all these prescribed duties. But why he is doing? To give example, to set example for the society. Otherwise, society will, because whatever a leader will do, society will follow that. So that's the reason here example is given of by Lord of King Janaka. So Janaka were actually kings like Janaka were all self-realized souls. Kings like Janaka. So these kind of kings are called Rajarishi. So those who have knowledge about supreme absolute truth as well, but they are kings as well. So those are called as Rajarishi. And we will try to understand with this little bit of short story of Janak Maharaj, that how he was a self-realized person. Like Janak Maharaj is father of Sita Mata and father-in-law of Lord Rama. So before having darshan of Lord Rama, Janaka Maharaj was a Brahmagyani. So he was a Brahmagyani, which is one of the aspect of absolute truth. So once he saw Lord, then immediately he became a devotee. He understood that the same Parabrahm is standing in front of me. So, but prior to that, when he had not got opportunity to have darshan of Lord Ram. So there was a story. So he was sitting. Now we'll try to understand his position. It will try to understand his state of self-realized state by this story. So once upon a time he was sitting in his on his throne, and then somebody came running that Maharaj, there is a big fire. There is a big fire in our palace. So we all should run. But Maharaj Janak was totally unaffected by that. He was keeping all calm, and he was discussing whatever he was discussing with the all the mantri and all the ministers. So he was not at all affected. So that is one feature of a self-realized person. He do not get impacted by the ups and downs in the material world. He do not get impacted by happiness and distress. And another story is like that. One day a Brahmana came to near the palace, and he wanted to see actually that he heard somewhere that Janak Maharaj is a very, because he was a famous personality. So, and he's one of the 12 Mahajanas. So he came here to see like what type of a Brahmagyani he is, how he is a Brahmagyani. So he came there to see a Brahmagyani, and when he saw Janak Maharaj, he found Janak Maharaj doing something, and something which like he was in a garden, or he was actually doing some activity. So by seeing that, this Brahmana actually get confused. He saw that what kind of a Brahmagyani he is. He's performing all the worldly activities only. He's discussing about with the ministers. He's discussing about the financial things of the state, and he's discussing about the military matters. All things he's doing, and then what kind of a Brahmagyani he is. So because Janak Maharaj was a Brahmagyani, he understood that what is going on in the mind of this person, and then he asked his from ministers or soldiers to bring this person who is standing there, just call him. And then Maharaj told him that you seems to be a monk. You seems to be a monk, but I think you are a culprit because you are unfit for this kind of dress, because you are unfit for this robes of a monk, because the nature of fault finding is deeply ingrained in you. So immediately that monk get afraid, that how he knows that what I'm thinking in my mind. So the nature of fault finding is deeply ingrained in you, and that I have decided that you should be given the capital punishment. Immediately Janak Maharaj said that you should be given the capital punishment because you are not fit to be a monk. Your mind is not pure. You are wearing although this orange robes or the saffron robes, but you are not fit to be a sannyasi. So you should be given the capital punishment. And then he immediately ordered his ministers and servants to give this sadhu all the such things like within 7 days we'll give him the capital punishment, and you just start giving him all the vegetables with sweet and the milk with salt and all those things like as a punishment. Like you give him sweets with chilies and raisins with tamarinds, like that, some kind of different mixtures he has to give him. The sadhu was actually terribly alarmed by this. He, like, you can understand if somebody say like this to us, right? From now onwards for 7 days, you will be given capital punishment, and give this kind of food to him. All which is generally not good taste, that food. So and the sadhu was terribly alarmed by this, and he spent sleepless nights after that in jail. he was not at all able to concentrate. He was not at all able to understand or what wrong has done. Am I really, that wrong that I should be given capital punishment? So he was again and again just thinking about. His all nights were sleepless. He was not able to sleep properly, and he was very nervous because when death is near, just 7 days from now. So he was not Parikshit Maharaj, right? So he was lot of fear was there. He thought of always. He was thinking about Phansi ka fanda, gallows, right? When or they will cut my head. So he was always thinking about. He was dreaming about death only. Every time he was just thinking about all these bad things, that when this rope will come into my neck, and I will be, I'm going to die. So in this process, within 5 6 days, he became very thin and very energyless, very pale. And then when the seventh day came, so Janak Maharaj asked the ministers or the soldiers to bring back that, bring that back Brahmin or Sadhu to the in front of me. And then this Sadhu came, and uh, actually, the moment that Brahmin came, he was not able to stand even properly because he became so weak, and he understood now today is the last day of my life, seventh day, so I will be killed. So this was the day of execution, and Sadhu was unable to stand in front of king, and he trembled, and he was trembling, and he fell down. And then Lord him, and this Janak Maharaj, himself, pulled him up and said that, you know, just when he came back to consciousness, Janaka offered him some milk with salt in it, and asked him that you drink it. And when he drank it, then he asked, look, that how do you like the taste of this milk? O Sadhu, Janaka asked that, O Sadhu, how do you like the taste of this milk? Then he was saying, I don't know any taste. I don't know what I have drink. Best you asked, you ordered me, I drank that. But I am not at all aware, what was that. Then he asked, it was milk. Was there sufficient sugar inside that milk? Then that Brahmana said, no, I have not noticed anything. I just drank it. Because he was thinking just about the death. He was just thinking for one thing, which is the death. Today is the execution. From last 7 days, he was just thinking one thing, right? Death. How will be my last moments? How that rope will come into my neck, or somebody will cut my head. So he was just concentrating regularly from last 7 days on one thing, about his death. So that's the reason now Janak Maharaj is asking although him that how you like the food, what was the taste of the food, 7 days it was given to you. He was not at all aware about anything. Why? Any thought came to your mind?
Consciousness decreased gradually.
Sorry?
Consciousness decreased and they were thinking about their death.
Then why he was not, if he was thinking about death, correct. So why he was not able to relish anything or to find out even the difference what I'm eating. There were sweets given with salt, there were milk given with salt, some different kind of mixtures were given. Even then, he was not able to find any kind of difference in those things. Why?
The milk is like the concentrated other subject हमें सब ध्यान देते हैं क्योंकि आप अपने कॉन्शियस माइंड में प्रॉफिट हो जाता है तो आसपास की जो भी वीडियोस हमें उसके ऊपर ध्यान नहीं देते.
Correct. So very nice. So once we engrossed in something, once we are fully absorbed into something, which is the, which for which we have given the most priority. So what was the most top priority for this person?
Thinking about it.
to evade the death. Hmm? And then how how it is, why it is happening with me, and how my death, the moment, last moment will come. Soon it's coming nearby. It's nearby, just 5 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Seventh day was the execution day. So he was constantly thinking about his last moments, that how death will, what wrong I have done. So he similarly, same way he answered, he replied that, O king, I did not feel any taste in the food or in that milk you offered to me just now. My mind is only the gallows, my mind is only at one thing, is about the gallows or the फांसी का फंदा. मेरा मन, where always my consciousness is at only thinking about one thing only, that is death. So that's the reason he was not able to find it out anything, any problem or any kind of differentiation, what is good, what is bad. He was not able to find any kind of fault in the food, although he was given all bad things, all wrong combinations. Still he was not able to find it out. So he's saying that my mind is only on the gallows at the time of death. So now with this story we can understand that what actually is the state of a self-realized person. Now someone of you understood what is the crux of this story? Why, why Janak Maharaj did all this with this sadhu? So then Raja Janak replied that, O sadhu, just as your mind is always absorbed on the gallows, so also my mind is always absorbed towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although I am in this world, outwardly I might be doing all the activities like common people, but my consciousness is always absorbed into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now you can understand my mental state. So Janak Maharaj replied to that Brahmin, and then he immediately accepted that. Yeah, I understood. Yes, yes. And he fell down at the lotus feet of Janak Maharaj. So now you understood what is the state of a person who is self-realized. Outwardly he might be looking that, he is working all worldly activities, but within he is always absorbed in the thought of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all his actions will be only for Krishna only. So that was the story which can, easily make us understand, and that Brahman also understand that what is the state of a self-realized person, of a Brahmagyani. So that's why Janak Maharaj was doing all the activities. He was performing all, he used to go for wars as well, wherever required, and he was taking care of all things very nicely. But although it was looking from outside that he is doing all this as a common man or as a king only, or a person who is not self-realized, but he was a fully self-realized person. He is one of the 12 Mahajanas. So next we'll discuss about Karma Kand and Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, and little bit of about Bhakti Yoga, because that is what is some important things to be understood. This particular shloka this particular chapter is about Karma Yoga only. So any question here till now? You understood this story? Why this Brahmina was given this punishment of capital punishment? Just to make him understand that once our senses, once our consciousness is absorbed deeply into something, so we do not see what is happening around us. You might have seen when somebody is doing, giving the board exams, writing the exam, sitting in the classroom. You remember your childhood. At that time, whatever is happening outside, the window of the classroom. We will not at all bothered about that. Even though whatever is happening, we are least bothered because we have just 3 hours of time and we have to complete that exam. We have to answer. So that kind of focus automatically comes, absorption comes. It depends on our priority. Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Ramana, so when you know Prabhuji, Ramana may created on the personality that is those only, so why he need to
So self-realization is, that's what we will discuss now. Outwardly, that's the reason Janak Maharaj asked him that you are a culprit, because he was not a self-realized person. If he was a self-realized person, he would have not thought like that about Janak Maharaj, that why he is working like that, what kind of a Brahmagyani he is. I'm seeing him involved in all the activities, all the worldly affairs he's involved. So he was just outwardly he was having saffron robes, but within he was not a self-realized person. That's the reason he was having that. Any other question about this discussion? No question. So now we'll discuss about like karma kand, karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga, and bhakti yoga. So because what do you think, like karma kand? Any understanding? Karma kand. What is karma kand? Any worldly thing, thought, like what comes into your mind when we say karma kand?
whatever actions we are performing from
Hmm. Yeah.
I think Prabhuji, karma kand, karma yoga. Karma kand means what we actively do for ourselves. Karma yoga means we are offering to God and we understand by your practice.
Karma kand, see, you're right. So whatever, like karma kand is a, in one line you can just identify that what is the feature of a karma kandi, that he always thinks before doing any activity that what's in it for me. If I'll do this activity, उसके अगर मैं ये करूँगा तो मुझे इससे क्या मिलेगा, या मैं ऐसा करूँगा तो मुझे ये प्राप्त होगा. What's in it for me? That kind of thought process is there. So any action performed with desire to reap, to desire to enjoy the fruits of action is actually comes under karma kanda. So like you some examples, like people do different यज्ञास, 108 कुंडीय यज्ञ, or 1008 kunda yajna, or without just why they do that. They want something in they want something by doing those yajnas. They are looking for something material. They want to go to heavenly planets. Somebody is doing any kind of activity, even though it's meditation, or somebody is just chanting the Gayatri mantra. Sometimes people without aware about anything, they want knowledge. So for knowledge they just chant Gayatri mantra, but that is not as per the prescribed duties. Like anybody simply is not cannot just chant the Gayatri mantra. So there are proper ways to. But somebody nowadays, people are doing so many things just on their own. That is not mentioned in the scriptures. If they want to evade death, the people do chanting of Mahamrityunjaya mantra, although mentioned in the scriptures. But they want to get rid of the death, and they want to let us enjoy more in this life. Aim is different. Aim is not to serve Krishna. That if I will be, if I will be evaded, if I'll get, more life, then I will do service. I will do service to Lord. That is not the aim. So karma kanda is actually, as I said, what's in it for me, and motive is to these karma kandas. The karma kandas are mentioned in the scriptures only. All are mentioned that this, if you do this kind of karma, you will get this result. If you do this kind of activity, you will get this kind of result or fruits. So if they do as per the scriptures, that is correct. It will still correct, because what is the motive of these scriptures? What is the motive of these karma kanda given in the scriptures? Motive is to uplift their consciousness gradually towards the next level. Because you cannot go and directly talk to somebody about the philosophy about karma, jnana and bhakti. So gradually they have to come up. That's the reason the conscious level is different for for different living entities, and accordingly karma kanda is given the scriptures, so that such people, those who cannot directly understand or reach to the bhakti yoga, can gradually come to the state of bhakti yoga by following the prescribed duties, by following the karma kandas given in the scriptures, the Vedas. Then comes, it's clear, karma kanda is clear. So then comes the karma yoga. So karma yoga, what is karma yoga? When actions performed as per one's prescribed duties. When actions performed as per one's prescribed duties, that is actually karma yoga. And sometimes we call it as a dharma as well, duty. Because whenever the actions performed as per the prescribed duties is what? It's a duty or a dharma. Like we have Varna Ashram Dharma. So Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So there are different Varnas, and 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. So these 4 Varnas having different duties. It is clearly mentioned in the scriptures what are the duties of these 4 Varnas. So if somebody is performing the duties as per their prescribed dharma, as per Varna, prescribed duties as per their Varna, so that becomes their duty or dharma. So that way, when this kind of prescribed duty is performed without attachment to the results, then it becomes a karma yoga. That means when somebody is performing his prescribed duties, but there is very less attachment, or there is no attachment, with the result of the action, then he becomes a karma yogi. So when we say karma yoga or nishkam karma yoga, the yoga comes, like yoga means to, whenever the word yoga comes, so that means such a person in that state, he is aware about the absolute truth. The aspect may be different, but he knows about the absolute truth. He may be at the level of Brahman realization, or that means he knows that some absolute truth is there. Knowledge is there. During karma kanda, that knowledge is not there. So now nishkam karma yoga. So nishkam karma yoga is, it's also one of the subtype of karma yoga, and we can say that when the activity is performed fully detached from the results, here in this case he does not think that what will be the outcome of my action, it will be good or bad. But in karma yoga there might be small tinge about that what will be the result of my action. If I do that, this may, I may get bad result, or I may get good result. That kind of thought is still there. But in nishkam karma yoga there is no such thought. Whatever I am doing, I am not at all attached. The person in Nishkam Karma Yoga is fully detached from any kind of effect. Whatever comes, it's good or bad, the result is good or bad, he is not at all affected by that. There is a Nishkam Karma Yogi. But in Karma Yoga, he may be little bit of attachment may be there, so he is partially detached from the results, or you can say he's detached, but there is no anxiety about the result. What in the Nishkam Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, there is a little bit of anxiety that my action will give me what result. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good. But Nishkam Karma Yogi is not at all worried about. There is no anxiety. It's fully detached from all the actions, whatever he's going to perform. So this, as we discussed in the state of Karma Kanda, that is consciousness move towards a higher, state about. And then in Nishkam Karma Yoga, it further on in Karma Yoga, it further elevates towards the knowledge, because this from Karma Yoga itself, as I said, the yoga word is actually telling us that he knows about the absolute truth. So knowledge is there. He knows about that he is a soul. He is not a body. So that is one sign to understand that Karma Yoga and Nishkam Karma Yoga, and people will further go towards the knowledge, pure knowledge. And then comes the Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga, when we say Bhakti Yoga, so what comes in your mind? Are you relating it to Karma Kanda? Because Karma Kandis also do Bhakti, as they say that we are also doing Bhakti. So these are all at subtle level. Outwardly you cannot differentiate that who is a devotee and who is a Karma Kandi. So you have to think in that way. When we say Bhakti Yogi, or the state of Bhakti, pure devotion, so he is such a Nishkam Karma Yogi. You can just understand in that way. What we discussed about Nishkam Karma Yoga, that he is fully detached. He is fully detached, not at all going, getting any kind of impact from the result, what is going to come, it's good or bad, whatever. But he does not know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nishkam Karma Yogi may be a Brahmavadi as well. Nishkam Karma Yogi may be a Paramatmavadi as well. But he don't know where to, he knows some absolute truth is there. But the difference between Nishkam Karma Yogi and Bhakti Yogi is that devotee, a Bhakta knows where to offer, my results, who is the real enjoyer. So Nishkam Karma Yogi, maybe he is fully detached with the results of the actions, but he is not aware about the Supreme Person. So, but in devotion, that devotee is fully aware about his constitutional position, that what is, my position, who is the real enjoyer, what all karmas, what all actions I am doing, so it is only for Krishna, it is only for Vishnu, and whatever fruitive results are coming out of those actions, that also to be enjoyed by Krishna only. Krishna is the real enjoyer. So I am just an object. That is what the understanding of a devotee and a Nishkam Karma Yogi. So, because there are two different types of duties, like we have conditional duties, and constitutional duties. So conditional duties are nothing but the Varnashram Dharma. Varnashram Dharma, right? We just spoke about 4 Varnas and 4 different ashrams. So those are conditional duties, and the second duties are constitutional duties. So what is constitutional duty? It's our eternal dharma. So eternal dharma is that we are the servant of the Lord. What is our position? We are servant of the Lord. And what is our duty? To serve Lord in all our activities. So that is the difference between Nishkam Karma Yogi and Bhakti Yogi. Now, do you have any question here, or now we'll understand one more thing, like about how Prabhupada explains about a devotee. We'll try to understand from him that Prabhupada says in the purport of Bhagavad Gita 3.19, a person therefore acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance and without attachment to the result of the work is certainly making progress towards the supreme goal of life. So Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna, because Krishna wanted him to fight. To be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment. But to act on behalf of the Supreme is to act without attachment for the result. That is perfect action of the highest degree, recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 3.19 purport. So, is it clear? Prabhupada himself is explaining, right, in the purport, that how a devotee is having all, he is an Nishkam Karma Yogi, but he know that devotee has to act for Krishna. Nishkam Karma Yogi might be acting, on his behalf only, thinking that I should not get attached with any, I am fully detached. But a devotee knows that actually the karmas and the results, who is the real enjoyer of those results, and for whom I should actually perform these duties. That is what the difference, Nishkam Karma Yogi and Bhakti Yogi. And because we have seen what was happening here, Arjuna was not at all ready to fight. Why? And then after 45 minutes, when Lord spoke, about different philosophies, then he understood, and then he said, yes, I will fight for you. Karishye vachanam tava. He said, Karishye vachanam tava. That means I am promising whatever you say, I will do that. And then Lord says, Uthao for Dhanush, lado. And then he fought. So it was same Arjuna. Just see, it was all to let all us understand in Bhagavad Gita. That is the reason this was just a play between Lord and his associate. Otherwise, this was the same Arjuna who defeated so many big heroes. And then why suddenly what happened? He himself came in the battleground, and then suddenly he says that, I cannot fight. Why he's, showing that kind of timidness? Because it's all Lord's wanted him to play that role. And later on, same Arjuna, who was reluctant to fight, he assumes, that actually all whatever inauspiciousness work, all inauspicious work will, come to me. If I'll kill people, sins will come to me. This all wrong things will happen to me. My dynasty will destroy. How can I kill my relatives? All different for reasons. So, and that way, when Lord spoke to him, he make him understand, all this Nishkam Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So he fought like a devotee. He was a devotee. When he acted like a devotee, he fought and he killed everyone, right? So there was no reaction to him, because all the results were for Krishna. Why? Because all the activity, all the actions were performed for Krishna. Earlier he was thinking that I am responsible. If I'll do this, if I'll kill my relatives, I will be, getting sins. I will get, sins. So when Lord explained him that, see, you are just an objective. You are just an object. You can, if you are not agree, I will make someone else object. Even no need to do anything for me. I will just kill them. They are already killed. So Lord shows to him in chapter 11 in Vishwarup that all are already killed. You have to act. So that is all to let us understand. And here is the summary, like whatever we discussed today, like to understand that liberation or bondage is not determined by one's activities, but by one's consciousness in performing those activities. That's what we understood from the story, right, of Janak Maharaj. So although he was outwardly, he was looking that he was like acting like a common king, but he was a Raj Rishi, he was Brahmagyani. And then, how he has given punishment to that sannyasi and make him understand that what is the state of mind of a Brahmagyani. Outwardly, he might be looking that he's performing all the worldly activities, but within he's always absorbed in the, thought of Krishna or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then renunciation is not actually giving up action, but giving up attachment to the results of activities. But Arjuna was thinking that, I will get peace if I leave the battlefield and will go to forest. So Lord was telling him that you have to renunciate the results of the action. You have to be unattached towards the results of the action. That is the real renunciation. Not giving the action, not giving up the action. You don't need to give up any action. You keep doing whatever you want to do, whatever our prescribed duties. We should keep doing it. But if that the results of that prescribed duties, that means those actions and the results of those actions are being offered to Krishna, that is what is bhakti yoga. That is what is the devotional service. And then third point is renunciation of activities without necessary knowledge, and purification will lead to destruction on the path of spiritual advancement. So if we want to be spiritually advanced, if we do renunciation of the activities without understanding, just आज जाके घर छोड़ दिया, आज मन कर गया, चलो अब संन्यास ले लेते हैं, सब मोह माया त्याग देते हैं, किसी का लेक्चर सुन लिया, प्रभुपाद का लेक्चर सुन लिया, वैराग्य जागृत हो गया, चले गए, तो कितने दिन में वापस आ जाएगा? शायद शाम को ही वापस आ जाएगा, जब खाने के लिए नहीं मिलेगा ना बाहर, 2 दिन में वापस आ जाएगा. So that is what Prabhupada always emphasized on, that we don't need to leave leave anything what we are doing. We just need to ensure that whatever we are doing, Krishna should be in center. Whatever we are doing, we should be doing it for Krishna. Whatever results we are getting, we should be offering it to Krishna. And that way, we will definitely progress towards the Bhakti Yoga. And there is a very nice example given by Srila Prabhupada about Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi ji was always, pujari of ahimsa, but he was killed. Why that happened? He was also a great admirer, and even he was living life, with Bhagavad Gita. Daily he used to, read Bhagavad Gita morning and evening. But what was the problem? Why it happened to him? Because he was not able to understand the real purpose of Bhagavad Gita. He couldn't understand what is actually love, because he was not connected to any parampara. That was all his own understanding, right? That, or wherever from he understood, it was not from the parampara. So he got killed. Why? Because he was thinking, he just took one word, all understanding from Bhagavad Gita, that we know ahimsa paramo dharma, we don't need to fight. अगर कोई एक गाल करे दूसरा गाल आगे कर दो, एक गाल पे मारे दूसरा गाल आगे कर दो. So he actually did not understood. Prabhupada says that he was understanding the different definition of non-violence. He couldn't understand that violence is also necessary. Lord tells, right? If all other means of all other means has failed to bring the peace, then war is also necessary. Then war is also very much necessary. So when the Englishmen, the Britishers were not at all we were fighting since long 1857, first war of independence, and after that, so many things happened, but they were not ready, right, to leave. Then Subhash Bose came, right? He made that Indian National Army, right? INA. And then World War happened, and then Britishers left this country. So that way we can understand that if we are not reading the scriptures from the right source, we are not understanding the scriptures from parampara, then it can create how much bad understanding. Hare Krishna. So any questions? That's all from for 3.20. Yeah, bro. So I think that story, Prabhuji, Indra was given some, sharp. He was given, and I'm not, what story about. I'm not recollecting as of now. Okay, that is your question. So even Indra is also in material world only. See, wherever this material world, wherever there is a material world, it is there till Brahmaloka. So till Brahmaloka, the three modes of nature play their roles. So wherever these three modes of nature are there, these things will come. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. That will always be there. Planetary system. Yes, yes, yes. This is all material world. It is only one, this 14 material world, 14 planetary system, all is comes under material world. Yeah. Yeah, darkish planets are there. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Shri Prabhupada ki jai.